Hello, it's Ray's mom. It's funny, Ray just posted a video. I'm like a week behind. I've been busy. I'm going out of town soon with my love, and so I needed to be able to get some stuff done. I needed to get done before I left, and Ray has put up a video for what they want to talk about with this week, and which is pretty awesome considering they have gotten more expressive each time as they do their videos, so that's pretty cool to see them start to express themselves more and be able to be comfortable in their own skin and be able to talk to you guys about it. What's funny is what they put out was kind of what I want to talk about too, only on the parental side, because I made a few notes even last week. I'm like, oh, I gotta get it done, gotta get it done, never got it done. So I'm talking about it now. One of the things I need to talk about that's kind of been weighing on me, and I say this because it's personal to me as well, is talking about Ray's dead name, is what the trans community calls it, which basically is the name that I gave them at birth. And I'm a hairdresser. I'm always messing with my hair, BT dubs, so that way if anybody's wondering what the hell she's doing all the time, I'm looking at it and I see all the little tiny hairs and things, plus probably a little bit of ADD kicking in. But anyway, dead name. I named Ray what I named Ray. My ex-husband and I actually named Ray together. Actually, Ray is named after a fictional character on a television show that my ex-husband thought was pretty. And I just thought it was a nice name, so I named Ray that. And then the middle name was my mother's middle name. And actually, a cousin also has that, so they kind of share that. So Ray decided to go ahead and keep the middle name, even though it can be feminine or masculine, as the middle name, and then changed the given name to Ray. And I was pretty happy that they kept the middle name because it was a name after my mother. I don't know, maybe if I name them after a family member, I might be a little bit more incensed, maybe, to them changing to where they changed it to, but I don't feel that at all. It comes from more of a wanting to make Ray happy. I learned in my group, my transparent support group, that just by the head person, the main person in their life, as far as the person, the matriarch, if the person that is the most prominent in the family starts using the male name and closer to the male pronouns, and when I say closer, because I say they and them over she's or hers, that everyone should follow suit, or at least feel comfortable enough to follow suit. And what I've preached to Ray is to try to have mercy, not just on their friends, but also on family members, as everybody gets used to the transition. Because what the kids understand and need to understand, if your children haven't gotten to that point, is they're not the only ones going through this transition. Yes, they're the most important part of it because it's such a huge deal for them, but everybody else has to kind of get on board in their timeline as well. And to just really know in a supportive and loving and goodness and light kind of way that to use the male name and the male pronouns, or at least the gender neutral pronouns before they can get to the male pronouns, to do that to help the transgender person to feel more comfortable around, not only around them, but just in life. If they have that great backing behind them, they can go forward and be able to be more comfortable as they go through their journey. Me personally, one of the things that I had struggled with in the beginning, I started going to my parent support group back in December. And I really just, I cried when the chick talked to me or called me because she was kind of interviewing me to make sure I wasn't somebody that wasn't going to be good for the group, which I thought was really great. But I bawled to her about losing my daughter. Knowing that I was going to gain a son, but what I was mourning is the loss of the loss of my daughter, but not because of changing the gender, but because of what I thought that child was supposed to be. And what I mean is just what society has led us to believe on what society should be, meaning they're a girl, so therefore they should, they're born a girl, therefore they should be able to get married and have a husband and carry a child and give me grandchildren and, go to prom in the dress and do their nails done and do the hair and be the princess and all that kind of stuff. And, Ray was never like that. Even when they were little, out with the boys, playing, which again, in that time I was like, oh, they're just, they're tomboy, because I was a tomboy. Up until about middle school, so they hit about middle school, and they kind of did dabble with boys a little bit, probably around 6th grade or so. But by 7th grade, they were out, at least as lesbian, and then by senior year of high school, coming out as trans. But still, for me, it was a loss. Not something I sat there and had a huge, tearful something to my child over, because that wasn't Ray's gig. That wasn't something that I felt I needed to lay onto Ray, that we had to have this ceremony. There's a grandmother on their dad's side that wanted to give Ray a goodbye party for the dead name, and then I guess a welcoming party for the new one, which I get. She's in her 80s, this grandmother, so I understand where she's coming from and why she might want to do something like that, but I just don't know if that's going to, if Ray would feel comfortable enough to let that happen or anything. Everybody in the family is going to have to deal with this in their own way. As long as the end result is referring to Ray as Ray and referring to Ray as he and him. Even me, I still say they and them. And pretty steady 95% of the time, even in front of Ray. We just had an instance where I met Ray's girlfriend's parents for the first time. And I said I said Rachel, I said all kinds of things, and just kept screwing up. And I mean, I did apologize, because I caught myself as soon as I said it, and so I'm going to screw up. I don't mean to. It's just you get into a conversation and something that you've been doing for so long just instantly just flows. But then, because you're trying to change and really trying to make sure that this child is able to, or a young adult, mind you, is able trying to get, move forward. They have to move forward while everybody else is moving forward at the same time. So I still struggle with the pronouns. I'm trying to get to the he's and the hims, even in front of family, which is difficult. But I'm getting there. I do it because I care about my child, and I want my child to be happy. I want my child to be happy and healthy and be able to be out in society with the most amount of confidence they possibly can as they're going through the journey that they're going through. And I'm going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. But the loss, I remember when I first had gone to one of my first meetings, I didn't cry that first time, but I remember one of the moms coming up to me after saying, you need to... Or not you need to. She said, what my therapist had recommended was that I write a letter to say goodbye to my daughter. Which I was like, I can't even talk about that. That'd make me just sob, and I just lost my mind. I was like, I can't even talk like that. That can't happen. And when we went to go see the therapist or the psychologist that had labeled, or not labeled, but I guess diagnosed Ray with gender dysmorphia or dysphoria. I guess it's dysphoria. I had mentioned that, saying that, that one of the other moms had talked like that, and this lady was like, yeah, no. Like, your child's not going anywhere. Your child's still your child. They're just changing genders. That's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. And I was like, to me, it didn't make sense. I remember seeing an Oprah episode one time where they were talking about different things that you deal with, write it down on a piece of paper, take it in the backyard, light it on fire, and give it to the universe kind of thing. And I thought maybe I could do that, really just trying to think of what I can do to help get me past, because I really needed to, for Ray's mental capacity, I needed to get to that point, to be the mom, to be able to help. I mean, I'm 100% on board with everything, but it really is difficult to relearn something after all these years of trying to do it. As what they were. So the loss is still there, but it's not as bad. Like, I can mention it without crying now. There was one time in group that I did mention it, and I finally lost it. I think I just had to have a good cry. You know, I had to have a good cry in front of a bunch of strangers who knew exactly what I was talking about. And I felt better, and I got to the Ray at that point. I got to the theys and them as opposed to she and her. And that's what I've been doing so far. But now I know, just on my own, not anything from Ray, that I really need to get to the he's and the hims. I think the others in the family are going to wait. I think everybody's brain is just thinking that they have to wait until they get to see a man. You know, I mean, because they just still see Ray as Ray. Ray's always looked like a dude. But I think more along the lines, it's just my thought process. I don't really don't really know if that's what the deal is. But, you know, this is my way of trying to be able to help whoever needs to help in the family. But Ray sent me something the other day that I thought was very poignant. And I sent it to me in a text message. And it says, "Don't take this the wrong way. I mean it in a good way." And it says, "You mourn the loss of a daughter while I mourn the loss of a childhood I never had." I mean, that's pretty powerful, you know, and that's true. You know, even when I raised my girls to be independent, and I raised my boys to take care of their families. And I even had a guilt something kind of in the middle, thinking, oh shit, I raised Ray wrong. You know, Ray has to now, instead of, not that being independent is bad, because I wanted my daughters to, because I'd gone through a divorce, and you know, you have to have something that you can do to take care of your family if something were to happen in your divorce. But that's just my way of raising my kids. Was my girls were raised to be independent, and my boys were raised to take care of families, because boys, I felt, needed to get back into chivalry and what they needed to do to take care of their wives. And if their wives had, you know, just, you know, to some it may be sexist or, you know, whatever, but that's just what I wanted for my kids. And, you know, if somebody disagrees with that, that's cool. I mean, you raise your kids the way you want to raise your kids. I raise my kids the way I want to raise my kids. And so I almost told, not almost told, but I did say to Ray one time, I'm really sorry. I feel like I might have, like, raised you wrong. Like, I just didn't give you the right values. If I'd known you were a boy, I would have, you know, made you more, I would have worked more on the chivalry part and the, you need to take care of your family one day part, and, you know, that whole thing. But, you know, again, it was just nothing but goodness and light coming from Ray. And, you know, but you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle as parents. You're going to struggle as the trans person. You're going to struggle as family that loves the trans person. You're going to struggle as friends of this trans person. And as long as everybody has an open mind and an open heart, you're going to be able to make it, period. The trans person has, like Ray has, and needs to have mercy on those people that are closest to them. Because, I mean, I wouldn't be very happy if I made any mistakes, because Ray knows I'm trying and can feel it. If I constantly made mistakes and I'm constantly corrected, I'd start getting pissed off, because I'm just like, I am trying. If you need to see that, you know, that kind of thing, where they're like, I'm who this person is, stop calling me by something I'm not. So I understand the strife on both sides, but, you know, as the people that love the people that are going through this, we need to try to make every effort to get to the name that they have now, and get to the proper pronouns, because that's what's going to help them, whether it's family dinners, whether it's whatever. It's just, that's what needs to happen. So do it with the best of intentions, do it with goodness and light, do it with love, always with love. The Bible talks about walking in love. Always, always, always with love behind your words, love behind your gestures. Because guess what wins? Love does. Talk to you guys later. Bye.